John Cena was somebody that had an opportunity to work out with here and there, and he used to kill me.
Charles Poliquin's name's come up quite a bit. I've heard you mention
Yeah.
him quite a bit. Ben's mentioned him quite a bit. Mark Small's mentioned him, right? So what have you learned, or maybe some big concepts do you think you learned and maybe you've been utilizing that were from Charles Poliquin?
Yeah. It's interesting. I think, one of like I don't know, we probably all have an experience of like, I had an eye-opening workout at some point in my life. A lot of people that I've met over the years had that eye-opening experience with CrossFit. They came in, it was the baseline workout that we did for new members. They would row 500 meters, do 40 air squats, 30 sit-ups, 20 push-ups, 10 pull-ups. That 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 format would make 1 out of 3 people throw up. The other 2 people were just obliterated. They're like, what? So they had that eye-opening moment. I had my eye-opening workout moment after probably 3-4 years of going and doing the machines. My cousin, he lived in Tahoe City. He and his family own the Ironworks gym in Tahoe City, right by the Safeway there. It was a McDonald's. He got into training. He was like probably 18. I was like he was like 20. I was 13, and he was like going through a big bodybuilding bulking diet. He was eating like 30 eggs a day. I don't know. It just seemed absurd to me at the time, but he was just massing. He was getting big,
Right.
and he was doing these workouts, and they were, he was like, yeah, come and work out with me today. I was like, cool. I love working out. I want to lift weights. I'm with my cousin Brian. Let's get after it. We go into the gym, Smith machines loaded with 95, 115 pounds. He's got me and his 2 buddies, and he's trying to like orchestrate this like workout, but like he's like, we got to do this tempo thing. We're gonna do these tempos, and like, we got rest periods, and he's like trying to tell me what to do. And his workout got totally fucked because he was just babysitting me and this other guy. But he's like basically taking us through a split squat, Smith machine split squat at a very slow tempo, into strict chin ups with the neutral grip, and he's over there basically doing shoulder presses because I'm crapping out. He's like, you got to stick to the tempo. He's like crushing me on this tempo. And the rest periods were short. And it was like, I don't remember the reps, but it was this Poliquin. It was a Poliquin program, German body comp program. And on set 3, we had just started. Set 3, I threw up. I was on the floor in the bathroom upstairs for a while at their gym. My mom and my aunt come, later on. They're like, what did you do to Mark? Like, what happened to him? He's on the floor. And I was just wrecked. And I remember leaving the gym and be like, I'm going to get this workout. Like, I'm going to come back and do this again. And I like went back home, was at the Gold's Gym in Marin, tried to do it 2 more times, threw up both times. Like, it just kept crushing me. I was like, this is insane. And so a couple of years go by, and of course I learned more about what the system was and what I was doing. And then in college, like, I pulled back out some of those old programs, did it with a buddy, and got into the best physical shape of my life. I was like ripped in college for the first time ever. And so those principles, Poliquin principles, just really stuck with me. And then the years go on, and I just sort of, paid attention to what he was saying, and, get little nuggets about, how to optimize muscle mass. And then of course in his later years, he really started to talk about like, nutrition, holistic wellness, like, spiritual stuff as well. And just sort of understanding like, what does it mean to really be a complete, whole, healthy person beyond the sets and the reps too.
I have a binder of every single article he's ever written.
Wow.
I'm like a mega fan, and he was a friend. So we lost an amazing person. It's devastating. The information that guy died with. It's just brutal that he still had so much more to share, and he was truly amazing. One of the things that I, took from him was these ideas of the tempo training type stuff. And you just take a simple exercise, like just a hammer curl, and try to go, 3 or 4 seconds on the way up, hold it for a second, and go 3 or 4 seconds on the way down. It just makes the exercises really brutal. The other thing that he did is he would superset a lot of stuff, as you're talking about, you're pointing out there. He would do, opposite muscle groups, so he might, or opposing muscle groups, he might do biceps and triceps. He might pair chest and back, and he might pair quads and hamstrings. I've had some amazing people that I've worked out with over the years, but John Cena was somebody that had opportunity to work out with here and there, and he used to kill me. We would work out. He loves just straight up bodybuilding stuff. And John does the craziest workouts. He's like, oh, today we're doing Indianapolis 500. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And it's like 500 reps on a leg press with just as much weight as you can handle. I'm like, none of this makes any, what are we doing? You know, then I'd be sore for like 3 weeks, you know, and he's laughing because he's just a fucking animal. And so he's just knocking the shit out of me here and there with some training sessions. And then he's like, hey, you know what? Go ahead and pick whatever you want to do. And I was like, all right, we're going to do some squats and we're going to do some leg curls in between the squats. Poliquin style. So we're doing this tempo stuff, and he's never messed with any of it before. He ends up throwing up. He ends up just like turning like really pasty white, and I'm like, I got this motherfucker. I'm like, this is fucking great, because he crushed me so many other times and made me feel so sick.
Yeah, well, it's like, what's the king of all, you know, variables in the gym? You know, it's like, well, people talk about reps. It's all about the sets. It's like the tempo actually is what dictates everything, the outcome. You know, in powerlifting, there's a tempo to that. It's just fast. And it's, you know, you're not trying to like, my limited understanding of training for powerlifting is we're trying to build explosive, you know, strength, like fast, move shit fast. And well, that's a tempo. And then in a different setting, the tempo changes and the goal is hypertrophy. And then, well, if you understand that tempo is just giving you access to the ways that muscles can contract fast, slow, isometrically, you know, and everything in between, then you can start to play with a lot of cool stuff in the gym. And yeah, I think people are introduced to the concept of weight training as a, you know, point A to point B concept. You just move, you just got to go through the range of motion, and then versus like, you got to go through the range of motion at this pace. And whoa, that's different. And that could fix a lot of problems. It could fix, you know, people learning good technique. It could fix people overloading too soon and being, you know, lifting weights that are their connective tissue is not ready for.
Pat Project family, is TRT or HRT something that you've been interested in? Well, if you are, that's why we've partnered with Merrick Health, owned by Derek for More Plates, More Dates. They are the premium telehealth TRT and HRT clinic. And the great thing about Merrick Health that is so unique about them is that versus every other telehealth clinic out there, they give you direct plans for you specifically. Many clinics give you just plans that they give to everybody else, but we are individuals. We have different hormonal levels. We need unique plans. That's why you need to check out Merrick Health. And Andrew, can you tell the people how to do it?
Yes, over at merrickhealth.com, MAREK health.com. When it comes time to actually purchasing these labs and paying for them, if you're talking to somebody on the phone, you can just mention promo code PowerProject15, or if you are manually checking out on your own, you can enter promo code PowerProject15 to save 15% off all labs. Links to them down in the description, as well as the podcast show notes. Let's get back to the video.
You know, it seems so simple, but oftentimes the simplest thing is what has the most value. I think Ben taught me that with knee ability. It's like, it's keep it simple. Like, you got to train through a full range of motion. You know, ATG split squats, slant board squats, all the, he's just going deep. He's bend the knee over the toe. That's the concept. And it's like, with weight training, understand tempo. And you know, someone's like, I don't want to count. It's like, great. You know, you're not the thinking athlete yet. You haven't absorbed this stuff, and you're not going to be able to do it as long. And then when it breaks, then we can come back and we'll talk about tempo and you'll be into it.
I remember Charles Poliquin was talking early on too about the knees over toes stuff, because he was training like speed skaters and people from all different sports, where it was really important that they had really good integrity of the knee. And I even remember in a lot of the stuff that he would write, when you saw a workout from him, it looked like a prescription or something. Like you couldn't read, if you didn't know how to read it, you didn't know what the hell was going on, because it would say like 4, 3, 4, and you're like, what does all that mean? It's like, well, it means, you know, 4 seconds on the way up, 4 seconds on, or 3 second pause, and then a 4 seconds on, you know, and you're just like, oh my God, okay, he's writing the tempo. He wrote everything into the workout. The rest protocol, like everything was spot on. If you followed it, you got some results that were exponentially way faster than anything you've ever done before.
Yeah,
it's fucking amazing.
There was it's like a thin paperback book, German body composition. It's green. It's got a picture of him on the front coaching this female athlete lifting. And I don't know what I think it was written in 90 maybe. And it went out of print, so it's hard to get your hands on. I had a copy, had it at the gym. Somebody stole it. Somebody borrowed it. I was like, okay, I'm going to go get a new one. $500? What? Like this little paperback nothing book is $500? I'm like, I don't think it's worth that much right now. I'm not going to pull the trigger on it. Fast forward like 2-3 years ago, I've talked about it so much because this is the book that I like followed the workout that made me throw up. My business partner finds one and buys it for me for my birthday. It's like, it's like a good condition book. I'm like, so I've got it like in a special place on my shelf. But what's interesting in that book is that I remember this. So there's some cool, photographs of all the exercises. He's got the workouts and then these are how you do the exercises. I've been coaching split squats for a while. And when I got introduced to it is essentially like a split squat doing 90-degree hip and knee angles, not knees over toe style. But I always had this burn in my brain that like when I look at the split squat exercise picture in Poliquin's book, it's the female athlete doing a knees over toes ATG split squat, like Ben's style, like way out there, knee way over the toe, and using a little elevation on one with her foot on the front foot elevated and one with the rear foot elevated, still getting that way knee over the toe. And I always had that burn in my brain. And when I saw Ben doing his stuff, it made me think immediately of that book. And I like pulled it out. I'm like, oh yeah, he's doing it. He didn't call it an AT. It was just a split squat. This is how you do a split squat. And he was a firm believer in like, and Ben talks about it too. It's like, get your knees strong over the toe. You're going to have fewer injuries. You're going to be performing better on the field in your sports.
Hey, you, before you leave, listen up. I need you to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. Also ring that notification bell because we continue to bring you peak content. So don't leave us hanging. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and we will see you soon.